Well, welcome back everyone. Mariah Monetize here, and today is a great subject. We're going to be talking about Joe Rogan, his upcoming move to Texas. How much money is that saving him from a tax perspective, and where he should be moving to instead of Texas. I'm really excited to make this video because most people's number one expense in life is taxes. Think about it from income taxes, state, federal, sales tax, property tax, gas tax, registration. The list goes on and on. Tax for most of us is our number one expense. But if you're an employed person and you get it automatically taken out of your check, you might not think about it as much as you possibly should. If you're a person in business, you definitely understand the whole tax situation probably a bit more. So let's start out by saying that I have a big crush on Joe Rogan. I've always had a big crush on Joe Rogan. From the time when he was the host of Fear Factor, and I was absolutely obsessed with that show. As I got older, I learned to love and enjoy the Joe Rogan Experience. An amazing podcast, right? I'm sure we all agree there. So let's talk about Joe Rogan, his new Spotify deal, his new move to Texas, and how much money is that saving him. So on May 19th, Joe Rogan announced the partnership that he had with Spotify, the deal that he had made with Spotify. It was not necessarily disclosed exactly how much that deal was, but many people estimated the deal to be a $100 million deal. So just to give you some background information, the Joe Rogan experience started back in 2009. And in this particular deal is said to be a multi-year exclusive licensing deal, like I said, estimated to be $100 million. So the Joe Rogan experience will debut on Spotify on September 1st of 2020. So less than a month away. It will remain free and accessible to all Spotify users. And sometime during the end of the year, it will be exclusively just on Spotify. I know there are some people upset because they love the comment sections on YouTube when it comes to the JRE podcast. So the clip was uploaded on YouTube July 24th, where Joe Rogan said that he was moving to Texas soon.
And what's the story? You moving?
I'm out of here. Yeah.
When do you leave?
Soon. Yeah.
Texas or?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Texas.
So some of the reasons Joe Rogan gave us when he announced that on July 24th was he wanted to be in the center of the country. Kind of wanted to be right in the middle of West Coast and East Coast. He said he wanted more freedom. He says that he thought LA is overcrowded and overpopulated. He thinks that there's just too many people in LA. He said that he was going to move to Texas, but he didn't disclose exactly where. So let's back up. On May 13th, Joe Rogan stated that California taxes are ridiculous.
Hey, I might move to Texas. Callan and I and Shab have actually talked about this. Like
getting a ranch together?
Well, if here's the thing. If California continues to be this restrictive,
yeah,
I don't know if this is a good place to live. First of all, it's extremely expensive. The taxes here are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I agree. He also said that California is just way too restrictive. Those are all reasons why I have personally left California. I left California for many reasons, but those were some big ones. So I could tell in Joe Rogan's voice that he kind of had a smirk on his face, to where his lawyer probably said, after what he said back a few months prior, that he probably shouldn't repeat again about the tax situation in California. I could tell he kind of just wanted to brush over the topic and not talk about it too much. And so what does this tell us? This tells us that Joe Rogan is probably moving to Texas soon, right before the Spotify deal happens, to save an enormous amount on taxes. Just how much taxes exactly? Well, let's look into it. I have here a Texas income tax calculator. The max they'll let me do is $10 million. So basically, estimated Joe Rogan's deal was $100 million, so we times everything by 10. 2019 estimated state income tax, $0. Multiply that by 10. 10 times 0 is still 0. 0 income taxes that Joe Rogan will be paying in Texas. But if he stayed in California, how would that differ? On $10 million, his 2019 estimated state income tax would be $1.278 million. Times that by 10, over $12 million. So Joe Rogan will be saving nearly $13 million by moving to Texas. What do I say about that? I say smart man. I would do it too. But is there a better option? Let's take a closer look when it comes to comparing Texas and California. When you look at other things, and obviously with a $100 million deal, some of the small things don't matter quite as much. But just to give you some examples, you can estimate California sales tax at about 9.5%, and Texas sales tax is about 6.25%. Employer tax, California 6.2, Texas 2.7. Property tax, this is the one major difference. California 0.77%, and Texas is more like 1.81%. And this obviously varies depending on which county that you're in. Instead of Joe Rogan moving to Texas, what if he moved to Puerto Rico? At the same time he talked about moving on the July 24th podcast, in that same period of time, he also spoke to Peter Schiff. If you know Peter moved to Puerto Rico to take advantage of the tax incentives. What exactly are those tax incentives? If you are a company and you export services out of Puerto Rico, your corporation is taxed at 4%. And when it comes to capital gains tax, capital gains are taxed at 0%. Why didn't Joe Rogan move to Puerto Rico? Well, there could be a few reasons. In terms of getting guests out to Puerto Rico would be more challenging and more time consuming. The comedy scene and getting in and out of here to get to different areas of the country would take quite a bit longer. For example, if he was trying to get back to LA for a comedy show, that would take probably closer to 10 hours unless he took a private flight direct, which I don't know how he travels, but that's one situation there. The truth is that Joe Rogan should be moving to Puerto Rico. He would be saving even more money on his $100 million Spotify deal. It would bring so much more awareness to the island. It would actually be quite a big deal for Puerto Rico. And I don't know if this is possible, but honestly, the Puerto Rican government should have thrown him an incentive to come here, because just imagine all of his guests that come here, they'd probably spend a few days. We have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and it would be such a great way for Puerto Rico to get more publicity, and it would boost up the Act 2022 and Act 60 program dramatically. Either way, we still love Joe Rogan. I'm glad he's saving an extra $13 million by moving to Texas. I hope his time in Texas is good. I hope you enjoyed this video about Joe Rogan and all the money he's saving by moving to Texas. That's all I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.